Patricia Jacobs, author and artist of the Junk Journal Workshop and the Workshop series for artists and non-artists alike. Welcome to my online teaching classroom. Today we are going to work on Chapter 2, Jars and Insects Journal Page. I hope you will enjoy following along with me. Come on, let's go. Welcome to the Jars and Insects Journal Page tutorial for the Junk Journal Workshop book. Today we are going to recreate the technique which was used on these two journal pages, resulting in this Jar and Insects journal page. Join me in the Junk Journal Workshop book. Turn to the Jars and Insects page on page 28. Page 31 lists our website, journalworkshop.weebly.com. Let's begin by reading page 33. Number 1. Create a background on your journal page. Number 2. Print out and paint or color the Insects and Jars page. Page 32 shows how we experimented with printing on different paper types. Page 34 through 39 have different insects and jars you can paint or photocopy for your own use. Lastly, we will draw fireflies using paint pens. This is on page 41. Here are some jars and insects pages I created in my own journal. I also included a short story and some poetry I wrote myself. Here is our supply list: a blank journal page, Junk Journal Workshop book, a paper napkin, watercolor paint, acrylic craft paint, paintbrush, preferably a 1-inch craft brush, decoupage sealer, rubber brayer, insects and jars printout or photocopy, Elmer's type glue, foam star stamp, a silicone texture mold, a gel plate, and paint pens. I prefer Posca paint pens, clear Elmer's glue, craft brushes, liquid watercolor paint from Let's Make Art, gel press, gel printing plates, a paper napkin, and the butterflies printout. Deco Art Americana acrylic craft paint, Art Minds decoupage sealer, and the 6-inch rubber brayer is from Speedball. To begin with, you will need, number 1, a dry napkin with the watercolor paint spots on it, and number 2, a blank journal page. I began this project by using a small gel printing plate. This is optional. The background starts with dark blue acrylic craft paint. A rubber brayer or roller can be used to spread the paint. I usually try to roll the paint in one direction. Roll the paint onto your blank journal pages. I also use the gel plate as a textured stamp. This is optional. When using a gel plate, you will need only a small amount of paint. Spread the paint thinly and evenly in one direction on the plate. Press the plate and paint onto your pages to make colorful and texture-like background. Continue to add paint and stamps to the background on your pages. This silicone plate was used to add texture to the page. Yellow acrylic paint was added for contrast. Here is an overview of this process. Press the silicone plate into the paint, then onto the paper. Product links are available in the video description. Rubber stamps were used to add interest to the pages. The star stamps symbolize the night sky and the darkness. The yellow symbolizes the light coming from the fireflies. Yellow paint was spread out and rolled over the jar's page. More yellow acrylic paint was added to the gel plate and spread evenly. Here is an overview of the process. You can see how we use the brayer to spread the paint onto the jar paper. The gel plate and brayer were cleaned with a baby wipe to remove the paint. Allow the background to dry before the next step. Next you will need number 1, decoupage glue sealer, and number 2, a craft paintbrush. This paintbrush is a little stiff and can be worked out with your fingers. Paint the decoupage glue onto your journal page. In the area the size of your spotted napkin. Press the dry napkin onto the decoupage glue. In this project, the spotted napkin extends to the next page. Now add a layer of decoupage glue on top of the napkin. When it's dry, it will resemble the night sky. Right now it looks white, but it will be translucent when dried. Cut out the jars and insects you previously colored or painted. Adhere the jars and insects cutouts to your page using glue, decoupage, or both. The jar you see here on our page was printed onto standard printer or copier paper. The butterflies on our page were printed onto watercolor paper using a standard printer cut down to 8.5 by 11 inch size, then painted on top with watercolor painting. More stars were painted onto the page using yellow acrylic paint and the stamp we got from Michaels. There is a link for a similar stamp in our products list in the description page of this video. We used yellow, white, and black paint pens to draw the fireflies. You can see them on page 41 in the Junk Journal Workshop book. The stars were traced over with yellow paint pen to make them brighter. We used decoupage glue sealer over the top of the whole painting. A thin layer is all you need. This is optional, and we always clean the top of the decoupage jar so the lid doesn't stick on there. I decided to add more liquid watercolor to the top of the napkin to create the night sky. I added more decoupage glue to the edges because they didn't want to stay down. Here is another view of applying the decoupage sealer to the pages. Before the decoupage glue dries, it will appear white. But don't worry, here are the beautiful finished pages. They dry clear with a nice finish. Allow your pages to dry overnight before closing your journal, or your pages may stick together.
Hi, thank you for coming to my journal workshop today. I hope that you will tag me in your work at Greenbelly Studios on Instagram so I can see what kind of things you're making from the Junk Journal Workshop book and the Junk Journal and the Journal Workshop series. There are 3 books in the Journal Workshop series. I hope that you can find some fun things to make for your journal. Goodbye.